Hello friends, welcome to Drishti CUET UG program and I am Shashank welcoming you all in today's session. My friends, in class 12th, the students especially who are from the humanities background, they face one of the major challenges while writing their board examination. And the challenge is how to write effective answers of the question so that you can fetch maximum marks in your subject. So, in this session, I am going to discuss you how to write effective answers of a question so that you can fetch maximum marks in your subject. And in today's session, I am going to take a answer writing session from Indian history. In Indian history, you know there are three books. One is for ancient, then for medieval, and then for modern. So, how you have to write the answer effectively, especially in the history paper, so that you should get maximum marks. And what should be the points that you should include in your answer, whether it is a long answer, whether it is a short answer. So what are the points that should be included, and I will show you how to write I will show you the sample answers as well, how you have to write the answer of the questions to get maximum marks in the question. So let's begin the session. Now my dear friends, there is a question that is long answer type question and it is of 8 marks. And the question is, explain the belief and teaching of Alvar and Nayanar saints during the medieval India. So the question we have, explain the belief and teaching of Alvar and Nayanar saints. So Alvar and Nayanar, they are associated with the Bhakti movement of the South India during the medieval period. And this question carries 8 marks and we have to write the answer in 300 to 350 words. Now, first of all, what we have to see? First of all, we have to see that this particular question is from which section of Indian history. So that is from the medieval India. We get to know through the question, and this question is associated with Bhakti movement. So this question is associated with Bhakti movement, and this Bhakti movement, especially the Alwar and Nayanar, they are associated with Bhakti movement of South India. So Alwar and Nayanar, they are associated with the Bhakti movement of South India. So first of all, we have to identify the chapter from which the question is being asked. So we have identified that this topic is associated with the Bhakti movement of South India. Now, first of the task is completed. We have to identify the chapter from where the question is being asked. Now, we do not have to evade the word limit. So, what should be the ideal length words for our answers? That is from 300 to 350 words. So, we should not escape, we should not avoid, not to avoid the word limit, not to avoid the word limit. So minimum 300, maximum 350 words, that should be the length of the ideal answer. So we should not avoid word limit. It is not like that it just you wrote the answer in 200 words or you have wrote the answer in 400 words. So be within the limit. So what we have to do? We have to be within the limit. So we have to confine ourselves, confine our answer within the given word limit. So we have to confine our answer within the given word limit. So we should not cross the word limit. So this thing is very important guys, because what I have seen is some of the students, they say if you will write more, if you will write more, you will get more. No, it is not correct. You have to stick within the word limit. So first of all, you have to stick within the word limit. You do not have to escape or avoid the word. So you have to answer within 300 to 350 words. Now, what should be the ideal structure? The student faces the most problematic thing that student faces is the structuring of answer. So the most common problem with the humanities student, so most common problem that is faced by the students of humanities is the structuring of answer or framing the answer or framing the answer कि how you have to frame the answer within the given word limit. That should include all the points and you should not skip the word limit. First of all guys, how we have to write the answer? First of all, we have to divide. Once we get the question and we have already read the topic properly, so what we have to do? First of all, in our mind, we have to make a structure plan ki how you have to write the answer. We have to frame the answer in our mind first of all. Or you can use this on your question paper as well. Ki you have to frame the answer ki how you have to write the answer of this question. Now, when the students what they does, so the most problematic thing that I have seen, once they see the question paper, they start writing the answer. They do not frame the answer कि how we have to structurally manage the answer so that कि there should be linkage between each and every point and the examiner should feel कि yes, this is the proper answer. The examiner should not feel कि whatever the answer is being written and whatever the question is being asked, there is no match up on this. So we have to connect the ideas so that कि once the examiner will read your answer, he feel कि yes, the candidate has properly synchronized and chronologized the answer. So first of all guys, what as a student I will do, first of all I will break the whole topic. Question. First of all guys, it is about Alwar and Nainar. So first of all, what I will write, that is about the introduction of Alwar and Nainar. So who were Alwars and Nainars? And then their contribution in the Bhakti movement. So then their contribution in the Bhakti movement, especially Bhakti movement of South India. So we will be discussing directly about Alwar and Nainar and what was their contribution of Bhakti movement, especially in South. Now, next we will be discussing the teaching of Alwar and Nainar Bhakti saints. So, what exactly was the teaching of Alwar and Nainar Bhakti saints, that we will discuss, and we will break the second point into three sub points. First is ki attitude towards the caste system, because you will find that ki the followers of Alwar and Nainar, they were not only from the upper class, they were also from the middle class people, and in fact the lower caste which were considered untouchables in the society, they also followed Alwars and Nainars and they were the followers of these religious groups. Second is the about the women saints and devotees. Now, when you will read about Alwar and Nainar in your course, you will find that not only male saints were Alwars and Nainar, the female saints were also there. So, although it was dominated by male, but female saints were also present, and that was a very big achievement of that time. When the females, they were not being allowed to renounce their public life, they these Alwar and Nainar female saints, they renounce their public life. Then we will be discussing about the relation with the state. Relation with the state means ki relation with the ruling class. Ruling class. Ki what was their relation with the ruling class? And then we have to give a proper conclusion of the answer. So then we have to give the proper conclusion of the answer. Ki what we have concluded from this question. Now, my dear friends, these 3 points that should be kept in mind while answering the question, and every question needs different set of framing. It is not like that ki every question can be broken into 3 parts. It is up to the question and it is up to your understanding कि how you have to frame the answer. But framing the answer is very important. You should not abruptly write whatever is being asked. So you should not abruptly write the answer. First of all, you should frame the question, frame the answer within your mind if possible, or you can do some rough work so that you should have a clear cut idea what has to be written and how it has to be written, so that you can fetch maximum marks in the question. So this question is of 8 marks. So if you want to get 8 out of 8, what should be the structure? And the structure of the answer will vary from question to question. Now, if I were the student, how I will write the answer? This is the sample answer. First of all, guys, I will write about, just as I have said, about introduction of Alwar and Nayanar. Now, how I will start? Ki the earliest form of the earliest form of bhakti movement that started in 6th century 6th century AD or 6th century CE in South India. In South India, and this was led by the and this movement and this was led by Alwar and Nayanar Bhakti saints. So this was led by Alwar and Nayanar Bhakti saints. Now, my dear friends, who were Alwars and Nayanars? Now in the second line we have to tell the examiner ki who were Alwars and Nayanars. So Alwar saints, they were devotee of Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu, and Nayanar saints, they were, or Nayanar saints, better to write, they were devotee of Lord Shiva. So Alwar, they were devotee of Vishnu, Nayanar, they were devotee of Shiva. And how they propagated the message? So these saints travel from place to place. So these saints traveled from place to place, singing hymns of their respective god, of their respective god in Tamil language. So which language they were? They were Tamil language. So they were using Tamil language for the as a method of their propagation. So they were using Tamil language to propagate their messages. Apart from that, my dear friends, during their travels, they identified certain shrines. So during their travel, these saints, you will find that they identified certain shrines. They identified certain shrines as abode of their deities, as abode of their deities, as abode of their deities. So first of all, what it should be? It should be the introduction. Since it's a almost 300 to 350 word question. So this I will write in my introduction. So this I will write in my introduction about the introduction, this earliest form of bhakti. Now what we have to do? First of all, we have to highlight the points which, or we have to underline the points to whom we want to stress. So the earliest form of bhakti that started in 6th century AD or CE in South India. So that started in South by Alwar and Nayanar Bhakti saints. So first of all guys, the Alwar saints, they were devotee of Lord Vishnu, whereas Nayanar saints, they were devotee of Lord Shiva. So they travel from place to place singing the hymns of their respective god in Tamil language. Now why I have highlighted this? So that the examiner should, the main point should be highlighted to stress the examiner to see those facts. Other than this, they identified certain shrines as abode of their deities. So they also found certain shrines where they said that these are the place of their god. So these are the place of their god. So that we will be writing in the introduction. So that I will be writing in the introduction, and please highlight those points. What I have seen is some of the students, they use different color pens to write the important thing. No, do not use different color pens. Simply you can underline the important pointers. The automatically it will catch the eye of examiner. Do not use different type pens, because some examiner, they do not take it as a positive risk way. So better is to underline the important pointers. Now next I have to write the main body. So next I have to write main body. So this is the main body, my dear friends. This is the main body. Okay, that is about the teaching of Alwar and Nayanar. So now I will be coming on the question that is about the teachings of Alwar and Nayanar. First of all, we will discuss about the attitude towards the caste system, because caste system was a very rigid system, not only in north but also in south. So what were their teachings? So first of all, we have divided this teaching into the first category, that is about towards the caste system. Now how I have to deal? First of all guys, let's discuss about the teaching and belief. So next I will be writing the teaching and belief. And this teaching and belief of Alwar and Nayanar saints. And we will be dividing this thing into three parts. First is attitude towards caste system. What was their attitude towards the caste system? Then women devotees, women saints and devotees, women saints and devotees, plus relation with the state. Then relation with the state. Now, when I divide this thing, the examiner will get to know that the student will talk on these 3 points. So, when I will be dividing this thing, that is about the teaching and belief, what it will symbolize to the examiner? It will symbolize that the student is going to discuss these 3 pointers in detail. So, the students is going to discuss these 3 pointers, that is in detail. So, this is the first, second and third. Now, first of all, we will be discussing one by one all together. So, first is about the attitude towards the caste. So, first I will be discussing, that is attitude towards caste system. Attitude towards the caste system. So, how we have to discuss this attitude towards the caste system? First of all, what we have to do? First of all guys, both Alwar and Nayanar, whether it is Bhakti saints, so both Alwar and Nayanar, since they were the follower of Sagun Bhakti Parampara or Sagun Bhakti saint, they always they were always against the domination of caste and Brahmanical system. So first point we can write ki the Alwar and Nayanar saints, they were against the caste system and they were against the caste system and dominance of Brahmin and dominance of Brahmin community in society. Dominance of Brahmin community in society, because according to the Alwar and Nayanar Bhakti saints, everyone, whether it is me, you, every, in fact, animals, the upper caste, lower class, they all are created by God. They all are created by God. And once all are created by God, so God has not made differences between us. So who are we to create the difference? So God has not made any type of difference between us. The color of the blood is red, everything that goes in the same way. So if the God has not created any type of difference between us, so who we are to connect the, to create the difference? This was the first thing. Who are we to create the difference between us? So therefore, all the Bhakti saints, whether they are from the south or north, they were all against the caste system, because caste system is not made by man, or it is not mentioned in any of the religious text. Varna system was there, but it was occupation based, but caste system was birth based. So they were always against the caste system. And since the Brahmin community, they used to say that we are the strongest, we are one of the strongest community and we hold all type of religious things, so we are the medium that will connect you to the God. So they were always against the dominance of the Brahmin community in the society. Other than this, guys, this both Alwar and Nayanar, they preach true bhakti. So second we can write down ke Alwar and Nayanar, Alwars and Nayanar, both of them preached true bhakti. Both of them preached the true bhakti and it was open for all, and their doors was open for all. Their door was open for all, so it was not restricted to any particular group, so it was open to all. Now you will find that, guys, कि the followers of Alwar and Nayanar, so the followers, third point you can write कि the followers of Alwar and Nayanar saints, they were from Brahmin community. They were from Brahmin community, peasants, artisan and craftsmen, and were also from and were also from lower section of society who were called who were called untouchables. So in fact, guys, the followers of the Alwar and Nayanar, they were also from the lowermost section of the society. They were which were called untouchables. Now you will find that their teachings, in fact, you will find that कि their teachings are their teachings are mentioned in book like Divya Prabandham, book like Divya Prabandham, Divya Prabandhan, Divya Prabandham and and Tirumurai, which are considered as pious as Vedas. They are considered as pious as Vedas, or they are considered as important as Vedas. So you will find that guys, the attitude towards the caste, they were very open. They were very open people. Their doors was open for all of the people, whether you are from the Brahmin community, whether you are from artisan, whether you are farmer. In fact, the lower most section of the society, for them the doors were open, so they never created any type of difference between their followers. Other than this, you will find that the teachings of this Alvar and Nayanar, they are being made given in local language, and once it is given in local language, so it is easy for everyone to understand. So this Divya Prabandham and Tirumurai, they are written in Tamil language, and since it is written in Tamil and Tamil was the local language of South India, that is of the South India, so it became very easy for the people to understand their teachings and to understand their hymns. Now again, what we have to do, first of all we have to highlight the important points. So first of all, they were against the caste system and dominance of Brahmin in the community. So dominance of Brahmin community in the society, and they preached true bhakti, that is directly devotion towards the God, and their door was open for all, so there was no discrimination on the followers. Other than this guys, the followers of Alvar and Nayanar Bhakti saints, they were from the Brahmin community, peasant community, then artisan and craftsmen, and even from the lowermost section of the society, who were called untouchables. Other than this, their teachings are mentioned in the book called Divya Prabandham and Tirumurai. So their teachings are on Divya Prabandhan and Tirumurai. They are considered as pious as Vedas. So they are considered as the pious writings as we have the Vedas. So this is the first point that we have discussed, that is attitude towards the caste system. So we understood that they are always against the caste system and dominance of Brahmin in the society. So what they've taught everyone is same. So equality of human beings they taught. So simply what we understood that equality of human being was being taught, and there must be, the bhakti should be true and pious. That means the bhakti should not have any type of artificiality in it. The bhakti should be true and pious. That is the direct connection between the God and devotee. So that simply means that there should be direct connection between God and devotee. There should not be any intermediary between them. So that we have understood what was their thinking for the caste system for the caste system. Other than this, what they promoted? So they promoted true bhakti, that was directly between the God and devotee. I hope and it is clear, and their doors was always open for all. Other than this, my dear friends, let's discuss about the women saints and devotees. Now, once you will see in medieval India, especially in the South India region, you will find that the maximum saints, whether they are Alvar and Nayanar, they were male. So you will find that out of the 12 of Alvar Bhakti saint, we have only one female saint, and out of 63 Nayanar Bhakti saints, we have only one female. So at that point of time guys, they were not gender biased. So most important thing we have to understand is, since the society was dominated by male, but these Alvar and Nayanar Bhakti saints, they were gender unbiased group. So they equally promoted female in their, they equally promoted the women saints. So now I am going to discuss about the women saints and devotees. So now let's discuss about the women saints and devotees. And devotees. Now, how we have to discuss this point? Women saints and devotees. We can write point wise as well, because point wise the examiner always likes the point wise. Although we can write in the paragraph form, that is up to you. Now guys, you will find that irrespective of men saints, women saints were also seen. So first point we can write down कि irrespective of male bhakti saints, female bhakti saints were also present. Out of the 12 alvar, out of the 12 alvar bhakti saint Andal was only female saint, and saint, and she saw herself, as beloved of Vishnu, and she is also referred as, and also referred as Mirabai of South by historians. So she is also referred as Mirabai of South India or Mira of South India by historians. Other than this guys, ki apart from that, in third point you can note it down ki apart from that, out of 63 Nayanar saints, out of 63 Nayanar saints, you will find a woman, a we find a saint woman saint, her name was Karaikal Ammayar. Karaikal 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 Ammayar and Karaikal Ammayar, and she devoted herself, she took the way of extreme penance for for her God. तो उन्होंने बहुत ज्यादा तपस्या की. शी टुक एक्सट्रीम पिनेंस फॉर हर गॉड. तो सो शी लेफ्ट हर, सो शी renounced हर पब्लिक लाइफ and she devoted herself towards the God. Now guys, you will find that कि their existence, you will find that कि their existence and their composition, their composition, you will find that कि their existence and their composition gave a challenge, gave a challenge to the society, which was dominated by male, dominated by male at that point of time, at that point of time. So which was dominated by male at that point of time. So you will find that they were general, the bhakti saints, bhakti saints, they were gender unbiased. They were gender unbiased. Now, which points we have to highlight? First of all, guys, we have to highlight the female bhakti saints were also present. Out of the 12 Alvar saints, Andal was only the female saint and she is also referred as Mirabai of South India by historians. Out of 63 Nayanar saints, we find a woman saint Karaikal Ammayar. She took the way of extreme penance for her god. Now you will find that their existence plus their compositions, that means their writings, composition means writing, they gave challenge to the society which was dominated at that point of which was dominated by male at that point of time. So bhakti saints, they were gender unbiased. That means these bhakti saints propagated a message that no matter you are male or female, you are eligible for bhakti. So no matter you are male or female, you are eligible for bhakti. So there is no gender barrier while doing the bhakti of God. So there is no gender barrier. So they promoted gender equality. So that was their teaching. You always promote gender equality. So if male and female both are doing bhakti, they have equal devotion for their god, so god will treat them equally. So god will not treat males are superior or females are inferior. So the bhakti should be gender neutral or gender unbiased. Third, you will find that now the third point we have to discuss, we have discussed these two pointers, that is women saints and devotees, then relation with the state. Now we will be discussing about the relation with the state. Now relation with the state, what I mean to say, relation with the ruling class. So relation with the state, that is relation with the ruling class. Relation with the state, that is relation with the ruling class. Now you will find that both Alwar and Nainar, both Alwar and Nayanar saints, both Alwar and Nayanar saints, they got royal patronage. They got royal patronage. That means patronage from the side of rulers. You will find that Chola rulers from from the 9th century to 13th century, 9th to 13th century AD, from 9th to 13th century AD, they supported the Bhakti tradition. They supported Bhakti tradition and gave grants, and they gave grants and for construction of temples of their of the of Vishnu and Shiv. They gave land grants for construction of the temple of Lord Vishnu and Shiva. Lord Vishnu and Shiva, and you will find the example like guys the Shiva temple in Chidambaram and Tanjore. So example can be कि Shiva temple in Tanjore, in Chidambaram, and Tanjore. Tanjore, they are the finest example. Other than this, you will find that the Vellal community also supported the Bhakti saints. So the Vellal community, Vellal, who are the rich peasants, they also supported the Bhakti saints. They also supported the Bhakti saints, so that Bhakti saints, and you will also find that the kings also the kings also introduced singing. The king also introduced singing of hymns in Tamil. The king also supported the singing of hymns in Tamil in temple. And Chola ruler Parantak first, and the Chola ruler, you will find Parantak first. He he just installed the statues of Appar in the statue of Appar. Appar was a Bhakti saint in temple. So you will find that, my dear friends, ki the Bhakti movement, especially the Alwars and Nayanars, they got the royal patronage, and when they got the royal patronage, what they did, they if they just you will find that ki they promoted the Tamil language. So with the help of the royal patronage, they got the land grants, they got the grants to make the temples of their deities, and which were very big temples. And you will find that ki also they promoted Tamil, they promoted the local language Tamil to propagate the ideas. So slowly you will find that ki the propagation of Tamil that started increasing. So you will find that ki the propagation of Tamil that started increasing. So you will find that ki they got the royal patronage. Chola rulers from 19th to 13th century AD, they gave supported Bhakti tradition and gave temples, gave land grants to create the temple of Lord Shiva and Vishnu. The examples is the Shiva temple of Chidambaram and Tanjore. Other than this, guys, ki the Vellal, and once you will write the words, Tamil words, so you should also write the meaning so that examiner can understand. They supported Bhakti saints and they introduced hymns in the Tamil, in the temples, hymns in Tamil. And Chola rulers, Parantaka first, also installed the statue of Appar in the temple. That simply shows that they were highly influenced by the Bhakti saints. So this is the body. Now what we have to write? Now what we have to write in the conclusion? So in the conclusion we can write down, in the conclusion we can write down that both Alwar and Nayanar, they contributed spreading Bhakti movement in the south, and they also they also wanted to reform the society. So apart from spreading spreading the message of their respective god, they also created awareness in society, awareness in society, the devotion towards the devotion towards their literature, devotion towards language, that is the Tamil, and non-discrimination and non-discrimination, non-discrimination between male and female, between male and females, that is the genderless society, genderless thing. And you will find that they drove a society that inspired the bhakti movement. So they initiated such a society, they initiated formation of selfless society, selfless society, and that will inspire the bhakti movement, that will inspire the bhakti movement in rest part of India, in rest part of India. So that should be the ideal answer, because this got completed in around 350 words. So first of all, what we have to do, so this will be the conclusion. So this will be the conclusion of the answer. So this will be the conclusion. And conclusion should be such a way that should summarize all the things that you have written. So first of all, there should be some reformatory suggestions, and that should conclude what the things you have written. So that should be the ideal conclusion of the things that you have written. I hope it is clear to all, guys. I hope it's clear to all of you. So this is the sample answer ki how we have to write a long answer, that is from around 300 to 350 words. What should be the way of writing the answer? What should be the proper way of writing the answer? Now my dear friends, let's come to one more question, that is short answer type question. So let's discuss about the short answer type question. If the question comes short answer type, what should be our way to write? See, there is a short answer type question, that is analyze the growth of the Mughal Empire. Analyze the growth of the Mughal Empire in managing their economic resources. And this is of a 3-mark question, that has to be written within 60 to 80 words. So 3 marks question that has to be written within 60 to 80 words. That means we should not elaborate the things. We should be very crisp and clear while writing the answer. First of all, we have to identify the chapter. So that is from the Mughal administration. So the chapter should be so this is the topic from the Mughal administration. So it is the question from the Mughal administration, that is the question from the medieval India. So this is the question from the medieval India. Now, how we have to answer the question? First of all, we should be very crisp. So what should be the done? So what should be done? So we have to be crisp, be very crisp while writing the answer, while answering the question, while answering answering the question. We should be very crisp while answering the question. And first of all, next, do not evade, not to evade word limit. Not to evade the word limit, that means you should not just write the things that you know. You have to be very crisp. And then what you have to do, so you have to frame the answer before writing. So you have to frame the answer before writing. So framing of the answer is very necessary, my dear friends. While writing the framing of the answer, it is very necessary. So we have to frame the answer before writing. So you have to frame the answer before writing. So first of all, the answer should be framed while writing. You should not write anything that comes in your mind. So you should frame the answer before writing answer. You have to frame the answer before writing. So you should frame the answer before writing. So first of all guys, how to write the answer? First of all, this will depend upon the question to question. So first of all, we have to give the introduction of the land revenue. Land revenue because it was a major source of earnings. So land revenue was a major source of earnings as a major economic source. Then we have to write about the Mughal officer who used to collect the land revenue and how it was collected. So the Mughal officers who used to take care of collection of the land revenue because it was the major source and how it was collected. Now, role of the Mughal emperors who conducted the survey of the land to collect the tax, and in this we can also write the classification of land, and we can also mention the classification of land. During the Mughal time period, the land was classified into how many types, and just we have to give the brief about the types of the land like Polaj, Parti, Chachar, Banjar. You must have read about this. So this has to be mentioned with just a word, with just a line explaining the type of land. So then we will covering, within 60 to 80 words we can cover this. Now see how we can write this answer. So let me give you a sample. So as I have told you, the land revenue was the major source of revenue under Mughal Empire. So the land revenue was major source of earning during Mughal Empire. Major source of earning during Mughal Empire. The Mughal rulers typically collected. The Mughal rulers typically collected one third of the total crop yield, one third of the total produce, one third of the total produce, one third of the total produce as a as land revenue, as land revenue. And you will find that, my dear learners, the correct assessment of land revenue was crucial for expansion of Mughal Empire. So the correct assessment was crucial for correct assessment was crucial for catering for catering the needs of the Mughal Empire, because it was the major source of earning, because it was the major source of earning. Now guys, first of all, this is the introduction. So this is what it is, the introduction, and we have to keep the introduction very crisp, because this is the introduction. We have to keep the introduction very crisp and to the point, so because we do not have too much liberty to write the big answer. Now next we have to discuss about the, first of all we discussed about the introduction and how economy was, how land revenue was the major source. Now Mughal officer who used to collect the land revenue. So land revenue system under Mughals. So second we have to write, that is the land revenue system under Mughal. Land revenue system under Mughals. Land revenue system under Mughals. Now you will find that guys, the officer who used to collect land revenue, the officer collecting land revenue was called Amal Guzar. The officer collecting land revenue was called Amal Guzar, and he used to collect he used to collect land revenue in cash, but he used to collect the land revenue in the form of cash, but payment in kind, but payment in kind was also acceptable. That means if you, the land revenue they generally collect in the form of cash, and but if the farmer wishes to give the land revenue in the form of kind, kind means in the form of agricultural grains or agricultural produce, that was also acceptable. Now what he should think, so his duty was to maintain the flow of maintain the flow of revenue maintain the flow of revenue maintain the flow of revenue, my dear friends. To maintain the flow of revenue, maintain the flow of revenue, but not to increase the, not to overburden, they but he did not try but he did not try to overburden the farmer. Now his duty was to increase the land revenue so that the expenditures, or so that the expansion of Mughal dynasty can be done. But that does not mean that he will become autocratic and will start harassing the farmer to pay the land revenue. So the land revenue was taken, it was good, but it was not on the cost of harassment of the farmer. So it was not being taken on the harassment of the farmers. Now, how they used to collect revenue? So, method of collecting revenue. So, next we can discuss is the method of collecting revenue. Okay, how they used to collect the revenue? Method of collecting revenue. Method of collecting revenue, guys, generally there were two methods to collect the revenue. So, it was did by two methods. So, generally we have two methods. for revenue collection. For revenue collection. One was assessing the estimate revenue. So assessing the assessing the estimate revenue. Assessing the estimate revenue, and that is called Jama. This is called Jama. And next we have assessing the collected revenue or actual revenue. Second is assessing the collected or actual revenue, and this was called Hasil. So this was called Hasil. So Jama and Hasil. And you will find that guys ki often Jama was more than Hasil. So often it was found that ki estimated revenue was always more than the collected revenue. So it was seen that often Jama was greater than Hasil. So it was seen that ki often Jama was greater than Hasil. So Jama was greater than Hasil. Next guys, we have to discuss which rulers did this thing. So the emperors like Akbar and Aurangzeb, they often conducted the surveys. So you will find that the emperor, or you can say that the Mughal Badshah like Akbar and Aurangzeb, my dear friends, they conducted survey. They regularly conducted survey to measure the to measure the cultivable lands. To measure the cultivable land to access the to access the tax collection. So you will find that guys ki regularly the Mughal Badshah, they like Akbar and Aurangzeb, they used to conduct the land survey on the regular basis to measure the cultivable lands, ki how much area of the empire is under cultivation, so that they can assess the tax collection, so they can anticipate that tax collection ki okay, this much area is under cultivation, so this much tax I will be getting. So this much area is under cultivation, so this much tax I will be getting. So I hope it is clear to all of you. And let's discuss the next point, that is about the classification of the land. So how the land was classified. So guys, during the Mughal time period, the land was classified into four types. So land was classification of land. So then we have the classification. So land was classified into four types. One was called polage. Polage, which was cultivable every year. Then we have parti. Then we have parti. Parti was land left fallow for one agricultural season. So left fallow for one agricultural season. So that was called parti. Next we have chachar. Next we have chachar. So next we have Chachar, CHA, Chachar. Chachar land guys are those land which are left fallow for 3 to 4 years. So which are left fallow for 3 to 4 years, that was called Chachar. And next we have Banjar. Banjar is uncultivated badland. Uncultivated badland, that is called Banjar. So we have four types of land: Polaj, Parthi, Chachar and Banjar. So this is how we have to write the question within 80 words. So this is how we have to write the question. So what you can do, you can just subtract some words, because I have given you in detail how we have to approach the answer, how we have to write the answer, that I have given you the things in detail. Now my dear friends, that important points I always say that you should highlight to seek the attention of examiner. So you will find that the Mughal rulers typically collected one third of the total produce as the land revenue. So that was catering for the need, and you will find that the officer collecting land revenue was called Amal Guzar. So Amal Guzar, and he used to collect the land revenue in cash, but payment in kind was also acceptable. So you can pay the tax amount in the form of cash or kind, which may suits to you. Actually, they used to maintain the flow of revenue, but he did not try to overburden the farmers. Now, assessing the estimate revenue, that was called Jama, and second is Hasil, and it was seen that ki Jama was always greater than Hasil, because assessment was always more than the actuals, because the assessment was always more than the actual. Now guys, the Mughal Badshah like Akbar and Aurangzeb, they regularly conducted the survey to measure the cultivable land and to access the tax collection. And classification of land, we have Polaj, Parthi, Chachar and Banjar. So these are the four types of land that was available during the time of Mughals. So once you will highlight the important points, my dear friends, you will catch the eye of examiner, and I would not suggest you to use multiple colors pen during the examination. So my dear friends, through these two questions, I have tried to explain you how you have to write the answer of the question during your class 12th examination. Now I would suggest you to write the answer in the point. Reason is this, the point wise writing, that is always encouraged, and if you write the things in the point wise, you will remember the things for a very longer time period. I would not suggest you during the board exam to write the answer in the paragraph. This is a competitive style of writing, but the board style of writing is to write the answer in the point. And point wise writing has one more good thing that I have seen during my school days. If the full points are not being written, so you should not, we will try to remember the things. So you will try to recall, if you have read, okay, I have read 4 points in this, and if the point is not getting remembered by you during the exam, that will haunt you. That will haunt you ki just you are missing 2 points. And point wise answer makes the examiner to read the whole answer without getting bored. So what you have to do, you have to make your answer attractive, that will let the examiner to read your, that will tend the examiner to read your answer. So you have to compel the examiner to read the answer. But one thing you should always remember in your mind, please frame the answer before writing. Please frame the answer before writing. That takes time. So initially what you can do, you can just do the framing of the answer in the rough work, so that once the ideas is getting collected, then you can properly frame the answer. Which point I have to mention first, how the second point will be linked to the first point, how will be the conclusion will be linked to the body of the answer. So first of all guys, how you have to write the intro, how you have to write the main body, and how you have to write the conclusion, that should be, no, that must be known to you. And how it will come? It will come when you will start practicing the answer writing. So we will bring some more such sessions of answer writing, how you have to write the answer, and framing of the answer is the need of the hour. Do not write anything abruptly. Do not write anything unintentionally. There should be the linkage between the question and the answer that you are giving. So there should be a proper link between the question and answer. Do not write anything redundantly, abruptly. And if you are not sure about the fact, do not try to use the years. If you are not sure about the years, if you are not sure about the rulers, so simply do not try to specify. You can write, if you are not sure about Aurangzeb and Akbar in this question, you can write the Mughal rulers. Do not try to be specific until and unless you are not sure about that. That you should always keep in your mind. Do not try to beat the bush around the answer. Do not try to beat the bush around the answer. And every question need a different set of framing. For every question you will find there is a different set of framing the answer. So that will depend upon question to question. So the framing of the answer will depend upon question to question. I hope, my dear friends, these all pointers that you will keep in mind while writing the answer for your board examination. So in this session, my dear friends, I discussed with you how to write the answer for the board examination and for the subject of history. And I hope through these two sample answers, you must have understood how you have to write the answer for your examination. So thank you all of you for being the patient listeners, and this is me Shashank signing off for the today's session, and let's meet in more such interesting and informative session in future. So thank you everyone, and let's meet in the next informative session.